Maybe you think that not having friends is a sign that you are flawed or insignificant, that you lack charisma, personality, or charm. But let us tell you, that is not the case. According to Stoicism, lonely people with few friends are not necessarily unhappy or miserable. On the contrary, Stoicism teaches that happiness depends on our internal attitude and not on external circumstances. Today, we will talk to you about the true meaning of friendship, and at the end of the video, you will embrace your loneliness and be ready to unlock the eternal companionship of the most meaningful and kind friendship, born from the soul of two stable beings in their own light. If you are one of those who have recently had few friends, the ancient Stoic philosophers would urge you to stop your self-pity because, in their wisdom, a lack of friends does not necessarily indicate personal defects or unworthiness at all. Stoicism shows us that lonely people with few friends can be happy if they adopt a rational and virtuous attitude towards life. The Stoic does not depend on others to be happy, but finds his happiness within himself. In fact, the Stoics were convinced that loneliness clearly reveals the character of people with few friends. When we are stripped of constant companionship, we face ourselves, our inner selves, with nowhere to hide from the truth. Our deepest patterns are clearly exposed for self-study, without the noise of chatter and events to distract us, virtues that would otherwise be displaced by superficial socialization. The great teachers of Stoic philosophy distanced themselves from the noise and distraction of the world, dedicated themselves to studying and practicing philosophy, making friends with themselves, and communicating with their own soul. Like patience and integrity, we nurture motivation focused on being our best selves, not desperation, to have friends or to be accepted in a society. The path alone can teach more about how to live well than being in 1,000 groups full of directionless strangers. Solitude, as the wise men did, is not to fall into a spiral of self-pity but to manifest self-control. Stoicism does not condemn loneliness, but rather uses it as an opportunity to reflect and meditate on the important things in life. Consider your isolation as a door to freedom by following the valuable lessons of the Stoics. Lesson 1. Don't assume you need many friends. A few good ones are enough. It's easy to fall into the trap of measuring our worth by the number of friends we have. Social networks show us images of acquaintances laughing at parties, gathered together sharing a lunch. And this makes us feel out of place, with our agenda empty of meetings with friends. But the Stoics change the script. Quality connections matter far more than quantity, as philosopher Seneca wisely said, "Beware of the man who urges you to meet more people." Building a real friendship with just one person who is loyal nourishes the soul more than 100 disconnected chats at a reception full of people. True friendship is incredibly rare. The greatest blessing unfolds slowly through moments of deep vulnerability, laughter, and tears. Casual companions come and go, but unlocking our hearts without hesitation to others is one of life's greatest gifts. If fortune grants it to us just once, it means that we are blessed beyond measure. So ditch the expectations of friend quotas. Nurture the bonds that inspire you to become your best, bravest self. If someone really sees and supports your spirit, it means they are friends enough. Lesson 2. First, look inside yourself. It's easy to blame others or feel sorry for ourselves when we lack friends, but Stoics take a different approach. We must first look in the mirror of those who despise us before criticizing them. The value of true friendship and what it requires from both parties to earn affection must be considered. We must extend friendship with generosity, empathy, and virtue. Lift up your peers, see beyond superficial traits to honor each person's greatest potential. True friendship is not a casual sport. It requires determination, sacrifice, and maturity. If you discover that your connections are poor, take a close look at your own pattern. Do old wounds quickly make you distrustful? Have you developed bitterness instead of compassion for human fallibility? Are you too afraid or proud to raise something new? Any barrier between us and others is first a barrier within ourselves. Growth begins from the radical. Honesty is the Stoic recipe for those who walk alone. It is not blaming the outside, but bravely changing the inside. Correct your judgments before reproaching society, and through consistent acts of service, goodwill, and courage, the right friends will arrive in time. Lesson 3. Use solitude for personal growth. Loneliness has a bad reputation. In modern times, we see loneliness as terrifying rather than therapeutic. We quickly turn to screens to escape confronting ourselves. But the Stoics saw a profound opportunity in moments without external company when we learn to accompany ourselves. Magical alchemy happens. Silence creates space to listen to our deepest longings that are no longer drowned out by other voices. The most internal becomes the most external. We become intimate with the contours of our minds without the gaze of others. We drop our masks. We do not hide or dance to the tune of others to obtain approval. Like a snake shedding its skin, we shed pretense and emerge naked but unashamed. This frees us to review what no longer serves our higher purpose. We boldly erase false narratives. We plant seeds to nurture our budding talents that have been untouched for years. We discover that we don't need validation or company. Then the innate creativity, wisdom, and wholeness within us begins to emerge. And over time, we desire to share our new self with other equally mature souls. Celebrating true friendship can only come from two people who lived and enjoyed alone for a long time. Solitude is not empty if we bring our entire being to meet the eternal friend who never leaves our side. Lesson 4. Watch for signs of friends. Contrary to the Stoic virtues emphasizing justice, wisdom, and self-control. And before you shrug, consider why this matters. Regardless of our social media following, most of us have experienced loneliness at times. We've wondered if we're unpleasant when no one wants to hang out with us on a Friday night. The Stoics would urge us to pause the self-pity party because their counterintuitive wisdom says that a lack of friends reveals an opportunity to know yourself more deeply. If no one else joins you for karaoke night, what inner strength should you cultivate in solitude? How do you stay upright in who you are, with or without the crowds? A socially slow weekend invites you to confront your core values. Boldly ask if you are living justly, wisely, with self-control, with fewer friends, but more free space to express your self-control. Lesson 5. Stay involved with society, even without friends. When intimate bonds are lacking, it is tempting to withdraw completely from the fabric of society, retreating from a world that seems callous, unfair, or indifferent to our deepest needs. But the Stoics urge us to resist that retaliation. Even if we do not feel the warmth of society, we still have our internal warmth. Imagine if all the heartbroken souls reacted by withdrawing from the community. What a winter world it would be. The whole suffers when a part isolates itself. We privately long to be the warmth others may need. We tend to fulfill our duties faithfully without expecting personal gain through selfless service. Earning the reward of a righteous heart that rejoices in righteous belonging to itself does not begin with giving signs to others, but with becoming the companion we seek. We magnetize the tribe through the person we have built, and soon discover that society is not so cold after having fueled its home with our own fire. The secret that we have forgotten about acceptance is to first learn to accept. Lesson 6. Make the most of the connections you have. It's easy to dismiss the value of connections if they don't meet our lofty ideals of friendship, regretting that no one reaches deep enough or hangs out often enough. In this sense, the Stoics could confront us with a challenge. How present and committed are we? Instead of longing for closer companions, we become involved with people with whom we only have passing encounters and insignificant conversations. What wisdom can we extract from strange people? This is where you should review the signals you give to those around you. You should ask yourself whether you are a good listener or whether you can show yourself authentically, fully, even in brief interactions. Relationships only die when we neglect them and do not nurture them. If we learn the art of participating, we can think about the joy of moments of lightness without forcing weighty issues. Show genuine care through small acts of service or loyalty, finding common ground in shared suffering or nostalgia. The human longing for connection cannot be stifled. An authentic relationship is born and grows based on attention. Dare to turn casual contacts into familiar faces. Over time, you will realize how much can flourish. Lesson 10. If we are isolated for ethical reasons, be proud of your principles. Sometimes we find ourselves excluded or abandoned for standing up for our highest principles in times of rampant corruption and compromise. Integrity becomes a lonely path. Crowds flock to easier but more dangerous paths. However, the Stoics implore us to walk upright in word and deed, even if it means walking alone, because social exclusion is not an insult when serving justice. Can one feel ashamed for speaking the truth to groups that demand silence? As a condition of sharing food with the abandoned, marginalized, those people trapped by fear or hatred subsist with falsehoods, but at some point the facts turn into rebellion. Integrity has its cost and loneliness is a bitter pain, but compare this to the deepest wounds of moral compromise. Our spirit is shattered when we betray conscience to the approval of the court. As Epicurus proclaimed, if he had to choose between population or virtue, the true Stoic would cry, "If only people understood that I'm not doing anything wrong, but if they can't understand it, then they can hate my body and what belongs to it." The attachment to being loved or accepted can cost us our ethical principles. We will gain fleeting friends, but know that taking nobler paths will summon self-respect and attract lasting allies. In time to live justly, plant seeds of solidarity and hope. Stay true to your principles, but with an open heart. You will see how noble and courageous souls like you will one day come to join your life, respecting your solitude and your convictions. Lesson 11. Practice self-reliance. A Stoic would thrive in isolation. The ultimate Stoic test of emotional resilience is to face complete isolation with courage rather than despair, because a master of self-reliance can change any environment. It is necessary to exercise Stoicism, temporarily eliminating all distractions and company to confront ourselves directly, without small talk, without news, without insignificant tasks, alone with nature and introspection. Here one must look inward and ask the questions silently avoided in the lair of society. How aligned am I in living by my highest values? Do my daily choices arise from wisdom or fear? How can I strengthen my character and my contribution beyond fleeting pleasures? Such skillful solitude develops inner solidity. No external turmoil can erode, for if you know your own mind more deeply, trusting implicitly in its compass, you walk in faith, regardless of the presence of others. You become immutable in the face of external exclusion. You no longer seek acquaintances to soothe internal discomfort, and from that place of plenitude, you are free to connect or separate serenely as life unfolds, without wanting anything, without regretting anything, without regretting anything. Nothing, self-sufficient, and without attachments. The promise of the Stoics is clear. Those who make friends with themselves can never be abandoned. Face your inner desert, and paradise will always surround you, prospering gloriously. We will never feel isolated again. True friends are a rare breed. Focus on self-control with wisdom. Relationships can come over time. Back to the Stoic view, friendship is life's greatest jewel, but also exceptionally unlikely to manifest. Most relationships only skim the surfaces, but never anchor in the harbors of our most vulnerable longings and complexities. However, this is why the Stoics want us to stop pining fruitlessly for ideal partners to complete us, because nothing sabotages intimate bonds more than desperation, attachment, or unmet expectations placed on fallible humans. Instead, they advise something deeply counterintuitive. Forget about looking for friends. Completely immerse yourself in making friends with yourself. Master the terrain of your inner landscape through self-care introspection practices. Ethical growth will become constant, first in your own shoes, at home, in your unique gifts and extravagant flaws. Establish a foundation of wholeness from within, unshakable by external conditions. Then and only then will you be truly available to offer and receive the sublime gift of friendship. Throughout life, from plenitude, patience emerges to let compatible souls cross your path in your culture, and wisdom to seek those who will see you as an equal. You will find that the spaces in your days open to colorful and meaningful encounters with humanity everywhere, and perhaps the fortune of true friendship will find you one day. Prepare to receive it fully when it arrives. Stoicism does not deny the value of friendship, but neither does it consider it essential for a full life. He sees friends as a preferable, but not essential, good, and treats them with benevolence and generosity, expecting nothing in return. The Stoic does not attach himself to friends, nor does he need them to feel complete or fulfilled. He is self-sufficient and finds his satisfaction in his own conscience. I hope these Stoic insights lead you to self-reflection on the bonds you currently share with others, perhaps even sparking inspiration to nurture your existing connections with more presence and courage. Start from where you are. Persist with patience and let the bonds flourish. Each of your actions will become great friendships, creating meaningful connections. But in the meantime and above all, do not allow friendship to dominate you. Face yourself fully and discover your strengths. Weaknesses and potentials that you have barely tasted until now become complete, without the need for company. The Stoic seeks to live in accordance with nature, that is, in accordance with reason and virtue, and is not disturbed by events beyond his control. Thus, the Stoic can be happy even in solitude if he knows how to cultivate his wisdom and moral strength. Let us know in the comments about your experiences and your Stoic achievements, and don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel so you can continue learning and growing with us.